You are looking live. How we doing, everybody? Charlie Marlow here on a beautiful Wednesday morning, 10:14 a.m. Central Time right now for a live YouTube chat talking St. Louis Cardinals, your St. Louis Cardinals. I'll wait till everybody jumps in here a little bit before we get right to the topics at hand. And this live stream is not really going to be about specific games and all that. Although I'm happy and excited the Cardinals are playing better. I actually went to the game, the final home game on Sunday. But this is more a big picture conversation about John Mozeliak, Oli Marmol, and we'll get right to it. Look, we have the chat going, and my guy Chiefs15 jumps in and says, Mo, gotta go. That's pretty much what we're going to talk about here. John Mozeliak, Oli Marmol. By the way, let me know. I know you see me well. Do you hear me well? And we'll get going. And thanks, Chiefs15, for the comment right there. Okay. Basically, that's what I want to talk about. Okay. I did a couple Twitter polls. I still call it Twitter. I know it's X. But I did a couple polls end of last week, and I was pretty surprised. I don't want to say shocked by one of the results. So basically, let me find the polls here so I can show them to you. So the first one I did, this was 5 days ago. Simple question. All right, here we go. And this was brought up on the live stream last week. So there's the question right there. Simple question because it was brought up on the live stream yesterday. Do you want Oli Marmol back as Cardinals manager next season? Okay. Yes, you want Oli back. 17% no. 83%. I was surprised at the percentages of that question. I knew it would be more than 50% of folks not wanting Oli back. And by the way, these Twitter polls, they're not official. They're not scientific. They're not Gallup polls. But 83% of you all, and this was 1,219 votes, 83% of you all don't want Oli Marmol back. I was surprised by that. I didn't think the percentages would be that great. That was the type of number I expected more from a poll about John Mozeliak. And so after I did that poll, I did the poll about John Mozeliak. So here you go. This one got 1,014 votes, okay? Here we go. Okay, now Mo, do you want John Mozeliak to be the Cardinals' top baseball decision maker in 2025 next season? And I put no to Mo, yes to Mo. 93% of you guys, 93% want Mo to go. Even that, I feel like was a little higher than I expected. I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was going to be over, let's say 75%, but man, 93% of you want Mo to go. I guess that's not as big of a shock to me or a surprise as the Oli one. I'm not an Oli fanboy. I feel like I'm pretty fair with Oli. I don't think by any means that Oli is even close to the biggest problem for the Cardinals this year, the last couple years. I don't necessarily think he's been a great asset, but there's bigger fish to fry. And to me, it's more on ownership, John Mozeliak. So I'm fine if the Cardinals move on from Oli Marmol. I guess I was surprised, though, that 83% of you want Oli to be gone. I thought that would be the number that's more like for John Mozeliak. What do you guys think? All right. Jump in, get your comments in here, and we'll get going here. Let's see. Michael Smoot says, fire Oli and grab Skip before the Reds do. How about that, Skip Schumacher? It seemed like last week when Skip, what did he mouth? F that. I respect this guy too much, talking about Shohei Ohtani. We're going to pitch to this guy, Shohei Ohtani, with the chance to go for the 50-50 season. I like that. People like that. People love Skip. And the fact that basically you have Oli Marmol right now, who's not popular. And you always want the guy who's not here, even though it's Skip Schumacher, who was here as a player on the coaching staff. He does kind of seem like the one that got away from a managerial perspective. Let's see. Woodage 84. Of course, they want both gone after seeing what Schilt has done with the Padres. Again, I wasn't surprised. I knew Cardinal fans, especially on X, were going to want both gone. I was surprised by the percentages, especially with Oli. This live stream brought to you by, where's it at? Boom. It's hard because I'm opposite. I don't even know how to do it. Triad Bank. There we go. Brought to you by Triad Bank. St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher and Chop House in Fenton. So I was at the game Friday. And look, the Cardinals are playing better. It's all good. What are they, 80 and 77? So what if they won out, Cardinals could win 85 games, which I think it's fair to say is right about or a little bit higher. I don't think they're going to win out, but let's say they finish 83, 84, 82. It's kind of what everybody thought they would be before the season. All the projections. I think most people didn't think the Brewers were going to be this good and kind of run away with the National League Central. What do you guys think about that? Let's check on some. First of all, I'll get to the standings in a second. But I think this is interesting too, as we get close to the end of the season here, just to kind of break down what happened with the Cardinals. Okay, let's start with pitching. I was looking at this earlier. So I'm here on MLB.com. I'm just looking at basic stats, folks. I'm not trying to get super intricate with all this. So let's just look at ERA overall, okay? ERA, let's see. Overall team pitching staff, okay? Mariners, Braves, best in baseball, 3.51. The Cardinals are 17th in baseball, 4.04 ERA, essentially tied with the Red Sox and San Francisco Giants. I mean, you can't be more right in the middle of the pack pitching-wise ERA than where the Cardinals are right now. 4.04 ERA, 17th best out of, as we know, the 30 teams, and tied with a couple other teams, Red Sox and Giants, okay? But let's go to starter and reliever. First of all, I think most people thought the Cardinals bullpen was going to be pretty dang good this year. When we did our season preview show on Low Hanging Fruit, Brendan Schaefer and I, when we used to do that show, and we will do a season-ending show, I promise you, I said I think the Cardinals are going to have a top 10 bullpen. So here they are. And we're just looking at ERA. There's a lot of different numbers you can go to. I'm trying to keep it simple because I'm a simpleton. Cardinals 3.62 bullpen ERA, 6th best in all of baseball. Guardians 1, Brewers, Braves, Tigers, Yankees, Cardinals 6th, Dodgers 7th, Astros 8th, Rays 9th, Mariners 10th. So basically, and look, Helsley's been unbelievable. You can't ask for much more at all from the Cardinals bullpen. I think that's fair to say. Would you guys agree? You should. You should agree. 6th best bullpen in baseball, ERA-wise. Any way you slice it, top 10 bullpen, whatever it is. Let's go to starters, though. Starters. So I said what? The Cardinals' team ERA pitching-wise was 17th, 4.04. Their starting staff ERA, 4.35. 22nd best in baseball. Okay, so we're talking the bottom quartile. That's a fun word. Bottom quartile in baseball. And so when folks are evaluating what happened this season, look, the offense is going to be the number one culprit, and we'll get to that in a second. But I do think when folks are saying, and I've seen some of this online and whatnot, and I get comments on YouTube and all that. When I see, I should say, folks saying, look, John Mozeliak with the pitching staff this year pretty much worked. I don't think that's 100% fair at all. Look, it's more this year on the players and the offense. So that's on the offensive coaching staff as well. But if you're, let me just double check it so I have the right number. If you're 22nd in starting staff ERA, right? 4.35. Let's go innings just to give another perspective here. Okay, innings, Cardinals better. They're 8th in baseball, 851 and 2/3 innings. And before the season, John Mozeliak said a reason they were getting some of these guys, Gray, Lynn, Kyle Gibson, they wanted to eat up innings. They did that. 8th best in baseball in innings. But we want quality innings. Let's go to strikeouts. This is starting staff strikeouts. Cardinals 13th in baseball. Strikeouts with 768. So not terrible, kind of middle of the pack right there. I'm not going to go through all these different stats and all that, but I don't think it's fair to say that all those moves worked out. Okay, you like the innings, you don't love the quality of innings. And look, before the season started, we talked about this every day on the radio. And most people thought the Cardinals are going to get Sonny Gray, specifically Sonny Gray, which they did. They were going to hopefully trade for a higher end front of the rotation starter. They did not do that. And then they were going to get somebody from that final bucket. And we joked that was the Michael Wacha bucket or Lance Lynn bucket or Kyle Gibson bucket, whatever it is, instead of getting one guy from that bucket. And I don't think fans, media would have been complaining if they got just Kyle Gibson or just Lance Lynn. It's the fact that they got both of them and didn't go for a higher tier of pitcher. I know it's hard to get those guys. Dylan Cease was moved. All I'm saying is before the season started, I don't think anybody was very high on this Cardinals rotation. And I don't remember what I projected them to be. I think I said middle of the pack, but it could be in the 20s. And I'll go back. When the season ends, I'll go back to that season preview episode and I'll splice in exactly what we said. But I don't remember anybody thinking this was going to be a top 10 staff. I don't remember anybody thinking this starting staff was going to be more than middle of the pack. So you kind of got what you went out and signed. Innings guys, not big time strikeouts guys, not super quality innings, older dudes, and you have the 22nd best starting staff ERA in baseball. Now, a lot of that has to do with, Miles Michaelis did not have a good year. And there's positives. Look, Sonny Gray was good. Andre Pallante, I think everybody's very excited for Andre Pallante. He pitched the game on Sunday that I was at versus the Cleveland Guardians. So I want to hear your comments on that. Let's go to the offense before I get to your comments, folks. So let's just go again. We're going big picture stats here. We'll go OPS for the offense. So Cardinals 20th in baseball, OPS with 698. 20th in baseball. So we're talking bottom third. Let's go OBP. OBP, Cardinals 15th, right there, middle of the pack, a 310 OBP. Let's go slug. I'm not going to do all these, but just some bigger catch-all stats. 21st in baseball in slug, 388, bottom third in baseball. Not good. Can't slug. Okay at getting on base. Overall, not a good offense. Bottom third offense in all of baseball. And that's the story of the season, folks. Even though I think the Cardinals should have tried to shoot higher for the starting rotation, if you had the rotation the way it is, if you had the bullpen the way it is, top 10 bullpen, 6th best bullpen, whatever it is, if this was a top 10 offense, which I think was very fair to wonder if this offense could be that. And that doesn't mean it has to be, it could be whatever, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever. If you just had a better offense all of a sudden, so here's a team that probably finishes the year, let's say 83 wins. Does that get you to 87, 88 wins? What does it take right now to make the playoffs? Let's check that, folks. Efforting. Here we go. So here's the wild card standings. Obviously, you have division leaders, Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, wild card, Padres, 91 wins, Mets, 87 wins, Diamondbacks, 87 wins already. Braves have 86. So what? It's going to take probably Is it fair to say 88, 89 wins? 88 or 89 wins to get a wild card, most likely. We'll see what happens. And that number's higher than I think most people thought. Don't you think you probably thought it was around 85? So I don't know. Maybe even with a top 10 offense, does a top 10 offense, and it's not just, look, it's not just, I was giving you OPS. We know with this team, it's runners in scoring position. It's timely hitting. That's where the Cardinals were really, really bad. Let's see if I can actually find that specific stat. I don't know if they have that with MLB. Let's see. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a split for you guys. I don't want this to be too boring of me searching for stats. Anyway, I don't know what it is. We all know that the Cardinals with runners in scoring position has been really, really bad. That's the story. It's not just the offense overall. It's runners in scoring position, timely hitting. Cardinals have been terrible at that. All right. 16 minutes in. What do you guys think of everything that I said? And if you're just jumping in, we got 63 people watching. Thank you for that. The reason I did this live stream is because I was surprised by the numbers, again, of the polls on Twitter of how many of you want Oli and John Mozeliak to go at such a high percentage. I knew the numbers were going to be, yes, we want Mo and Oli to go. But again, if you're just joining us, 83% of you want Oli Marmol gone. That was higher than I thought. And then 93% of you want Mo gone. 93%. And I guess that's a little higher. That's a little higher than I thought. I mean, that's hell. That's dang near unanimous. Let's be honest. 93%. Might as well be 100. Okay. Let's jump in the chat here and hear from you guys. Also, what did you think of Wilson Contreras' comments? I liked him. Call out the front office a little bit. Let's be hungry to own the Central. Also, Wilson Contreras, I'm a big fan of his. But he also needs to stay on the field. Let's be real about it. Let's be real about that. Let's check Wilson Contreras last couple years. Wilson Contreras, so let's see. 2023, he played 125 games. This year, he played 84 games. Obviously, good offensively, very good. I mean, OPS plus of 123 last year and 135 this year, but he's only playing in half the games. How many games is he actually catching the last couple years? Let's check that real quick. So 2023, I mean, this is the guy that you signed on to be your catcher for 5 years. 2023, he caught 97 games. He started 89 games. This year at catcher, he caught 51 games. Started 50 games at catcher, less than a third of the games. We all know the best ability is availability. And Wilson Contreras needs to stay on the field. I know there's some flukish stuff. What he got hit by the bat there, but that also had to do with standing and squatting closer to the batter to try to steal those low strikes. I'm not trying to get into all the specifics of that, but let's get to your chat. Here we go. Here we go. MT 2330 talking about the percentages of wanting Oli gone. I think it's because Oli is directly linked as Mo's guy, and fans want a clean slate and no ties back to Mo at all. That's fair. That is why if Bloom is the new guy, they have to make it where Mo has no connection. That's fair. Let's see. Justin Kopp. I see likely scenario that Mo lessens his role, and I could see them staying with Oli. I agree with that. Mo steps aside a bit. He says, hey, Chaim Bloom's running the show. I'll be here to help out. Give Oli one more year. See what happens. Remember, they gave Oli the extension before the season. I think that's probably the most likely scenario, even if you guys don't like that and you want Oli gone. So Bloom would step in as the main voice. Yes, I think that should happen. I want that to happen. Let's see here. Dylan Hatfield. Skip wouldn't take the job with Mo here. Mo sees the manager as someone to implement his out-of-date analytics department game plan, which is just lefty-righty matchups, not managed players. I think Skip would take the Cardinals job regardless of who's the Pobo. Ralph Jenkins. But Charlie, a lot of the starters' ERA is because they were always pitching under the gun because of lack of run support. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm 100% with you there, but I get it. Chiefs 15. Michaelis needs to go. He's been mid for a while. Yes, he has. That's been a really bad extension. Let's talk about just how bad it's been. Remember, he's under contract for next year as well. At what? What's he making next year? Something like 18 and a half, I believe. 3-year, $55.75 million extension. I think it's 18 and a half. I looked at this not too long ago. Yes, he's making 18 and a half million this year, 18 and a half million next year. Miles Michaelis this season, 5.35 ERA, 9-11. He did make his starts, 31 games, 166 and 2/3 innings, only 118 strikeouts, a FIP of 4.2. So FIP much better than his ERA, but still not striking anybody out, giving up a ton of contact, ton of hits. It's ugly, folks. It's ugly, and you got to think next year is going to be more of the same. Let's see. Larry, Bloom should be allowed to hire the manager. I agree with that also. Mo and his minions cannot run the franchise. Yes, I agree with that also. But if I'm Bloom, I might come in my first year and go, hey, let's fix the entire front office first. That's the biggest problem. See what happens with Oli. Maybe Bloom likes Oli. If things don't go well next year, you can move on from Oli. But fixing the foundational parts of this franchise, front office wise, drafting, developing, decision making, that's the number one issue. And that's why I'm saying, look, I understand if you want to move on from Oli. I get it. I just don't think Oli is even close to the biggest problem. I would be fine, and I'm not even a huge Oli fan. I'd be fine with Oli sticking around 2025 and see what happens if you move on from Mozeliak and you say Chaim Bloom's going to be the number one decision maker. Okay. Flying Navy 73. Now check offense with runners in scoring position, 28th or 29th. Yeah, I was trying to do that. Is that what it is? I believe you. I didn't want to go through checking all these stats while I'm live with you guys. I'm sure it's something like that. Yeah, that's the story. Not just OPS overall, runners in scoring position, timely hitting. This team has been really bad. Agreed. Dylan Hatfield. Didn't even hit on the worst part of the rotation. They are paid like a top 10 staff. Yep. Looking at pay alone, the expectation should be flipped for the staff and offense. Agreed. What do we got? Michaelis making 18 and a half. Remember Steven Matz, what's he making? 11 AAV. Sonny Gray's making 25, but it was deferred. Who else? Lynn and Gibson are making 12, 13, whatever it is. Yeah. And then Palante's cheap right now. Palante's been dang good, but that's a lot of $10 million plus salaries and a couple that are approaching or over 20 million for a starting staff that is not good at all. I don't know why people want them to go. I look forward to the league average vets we bring in every offseason. Logan Hart. Again, I was more surprised at the percentages. I knew you guys would all want Oli and especially Mo to go. I have a cough drop in. Monty Metcalf. Mo is about a decade behind the times. No reason to let him screw up another offseason just because he's under contract. Let's turn the page. I agree with that. It's time to move on. It's time for him to step aside and let Chaim Bloom run the show. I've been saying that for a long time. Justin Kopp. Biggest offseason needs are a number one starter or a number two, front end guy who is not 34 and a bat, preferably a lefty that can split Contreras and Arenado up. Then they must ensure that the bullpen is strong. Yeah, and then you got Ryan Helsley there. Ryan Helsley, 1 year left. You give him a big extension. Extensions for relievers, a lot of volatility with relievers. I would do it, but if you're Helsley, I don't think you're signing a team-friendly deal. I don't think you're signing a little 3-year extension, right? Let's look. I mean, Helsley coming off an amazing season. I always forget how old Ryan Helsley is, too. I feel like he's a little older than I think he is. Let's look. Ryan Helsley is 30, so he'll be 31 next year. So if you give him an extension, it's essentially starting with his age 32 season. So 32, 3, 4, 5. Man. So you'd basically have to give him an extension. He's already under contract next year. You'd have to give him an extension for his ages 32, 3, 4, 5, maybe age 36 season. Would he get a 5-year contract if he had a great season next year? I don't know. He's great, but that worries me if you have to give him 4 or 5 years. He's one of the best relievers in all of baseball. What do you guys think about that? Matt, the Michaelis contract was bad from the start. Yes, the extension. The extension absolutely was. Justin Kopp, most of these moves will need to be done via trade. Yeah, we'll see. Here we go. Scott Fawn, my guy Scott Fawn, how you doing? 83% of folks not wanting Marmol back seems low to me. He's not an Oli guy. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe 75%. I knew you guys would want Oli gone. I think Oli, my main issues with Oli, they haven't changed. I thought he mangled game 1 of the playoffs, 2022. That was also his first playoff game. I thought he handled the Tyler O'Neill situation really poorly. No reason, in my opinion, to publicly call that guy out. Then you basically had to trade him for a bucket of balls. What does Tyler O'Neill have this season? Last I looked, 31 bombs or something. I know he's hurt all the time, but also we're talking about an offense with the Cardinals that needed any type of help. That relationship was fractured beyond repair, and I just thought that was stupid. I didn't think there was any reason to call the dude out publicly like that, especially when you would never do that. I mean, the year before, Yachty's going to Puerto Rico to check on his basketball team, right? We're calling out some people and not calling out other people. Tyler O'Neill this year, 31 bombs, 61 RBI, 133 OPS plus, 855 OPS for Tyler O'Neill. Has not been good at all for the last week or so. Let's check the splits real quick. He's very streaky. 2024 splits, Tyler O'Neill. Let's check him out. First half, 838 OPS. Second half, Tyler O'Neill, 882. Okay. He's actually been good overall in September. 816 OPS. He was bad in August, really bad in May, but great in April, and really good June, July. So he's streaky. He's had 2 bad months, but he's had 4 really good months. I know he's banged up here and there. But again, I thought Oli calling him out fractured that relationship beyond repair. He essentially said that if you watch the interview on Foul Territory this winter, and then you had to trade him for nothing. I just thought that was totally stupid. You had an asset in his walk year, super motivated, and you had to trade him because your manager called him out. You cannot change my mind on this. You cannot change my mind on this. Stupid. I didn't hear one. And when you hear other professional athletes talk about this, whether it's on the radio, TV, I didn't hear one person think that Oli handled that properly. I will not change on that. Logan Hart, we need to bring a Pete Kozma back into the fold. I promise that will turn things around. All right. Pete Kozma. As a coach, what is he even doing? Reverend 20-piece. We need a remake of Velma and Louise. Oh, come on. Come on. Starring Mozeliak and Marmol. That's not nice. I remember how that movie ended. Come on now. No violence. B.O. Their issue with the Cardinals is how they handle their young talent. Mason is an outlier, as most of the talent, Gorman, Scott Walker, have all been handled poorly. This needs to be addressed. Yeah, Alec Burleson's been good. Scott, yeah, up and down. That was weird. Just back up for paternity leave for Luke and Baker. Gorman, I don't know what's going on with him. Walker's starting to hit, which is good, but he's been freaking just kind of sabotaged the last year or so. Let's see. Cole Trickle, the entire front office and ownership need to go. That's one poll I didn't do was, do you want the DeWitts to sell the team? And I think the percentages would be right around there. What was Oli? 83%, and Mo was 93%. I think the DeWitts selling the team would be in between 83 and 93%. Is that fair to say? Fat Bob, we want them gone, Charlie. Matt, God, imagine if they brought in an actual manager like Joe Madden and not a puppet. What do you think? Also, maybe a manager with experience. They've gone 3 straight managers with no big league experience. Mike Matheny. Now, obviously, Schilt was a minor league manager. Oli minor league manager, but no big league experience since Tony La Russa. That's a long time ago. That's 13 years ago, folks. Let's see here. Cole Trickle, pretty sure DeWitt, the Sunny boy. What? Okay, I'm gonna hide that one. Again, not nice. Okay, we're not getting personal here. He'll likely hire the first chick for GM and manager. Come on now, folks. Come on. I have to edit these better before I read them. Ralph Jenkins, managers don't make a huge difference in baseball compared to sports like football and hockey. I agree, especially football. Baseball and basketball, it's about managing personalities. Managing a bullpen, I think, is important. Managing rest is important. Being a good spokesperson for the team. That's one of the main jobs of a baseball manager. I hate to say it. That's another thing. It's entertaining. Oli can be a little condescending with the press. I think it's funny. I wouldn't like if he was doing it to me. Also, sometimes a little too big for his britches, maybe. I was talking with my buddy about that, who's the assistant hitting coach for the Cleveland Guardians. And I think a reason for that is, so my buddy didn't play in the majors either. He played in the minors. But I think everybody, you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. And if you've never played in the big leagues and you're on a big league coaching staff or you're a manager, you know that you have to overcome that. And one way to do it is to kind of fly under the radar and pay your dues and be like, hey, I didn't play in the big leagues. Listen, learn. And then the opposite way is to kind of just be real authoritative about it. That's what I've seen from Oli. Look, I know Oli's the manager. He has to run the show. But I've always felt like he's trying to overcompensate for the fact that he's young and overcompensate for the fact that he didn't play in the big leagues. And I don't know, not a huge deal. I just kind of noticed that with the way he treats umpires and the press sometimes. What do you guys think? I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Chiefs 15. Wish they would stop giving out all these undeserving contract extensions. Yeah, that's another thing. The Cardinals, I've thought about this a lot. The Cardinals are a family business that run their business too much like a family business. You know what I'm saying? When you run a family business, it's with family, and it's hard to fire a family member, discipline a family member, move on from a family member if it's not working. And that's what I'm saying. The DeWitts treat John Mozeliak like a son. Bill Jr. does. And then all these extensions, I think that's part of it. The Cardinals are so in love with their past, which is great. We all love the Red Jackets. We all love best fans in baseball heaven. But I feel like the Cardinals treat their longtime players so much like family that they're afraid to cut bait with them when they should. It's like the only guy they did that with was Matt Holliday. Matt Holliday, if you go back the last 10 years or so, Matt Holliday is basically the only player they didn't give that extra extension for. All these other guys, whether it's Matt Carpenter's first extension, Miles Michaelis, even continuing to bring back Adam Wainwright, even though it worked out for a couple years. The last year was awful, right? They're in love with their past. They're in love with nostalgia. That's why I wouldn't rule out Paul Goldschmidt. That's a tough one about what price he would come back. I'm probably okay with moving on from Paul Goldschmidt. But again, because he's one of those legacy guys, I feel like he's somebody else who they'll give another extension to that probably you shouldn't if it was anybody else, right? You got to make tough decisions. Fly Navy 73. I also think that Mo has been paralyzed the last 5-6 years. The bad trades have been so bad. The Ozuna deal, giving up Alcantara, Gallen, the Randy Arozarena deal. I feel like the Cardinals made a couple really bad trades, and then that made them afraid to make any big moves. And what happened was then, instead of making a tough call, moving on from an outfielder, you save these outfielders forever. You keep them forever, whether it's Dylan Carlson. I mean, even Tyler O'Neill, you move him when he has no value. His last year, you get nothing for him. He has a nice year. But just choosing outfielders, the Cardinals have been bad at that. And then making a decision to cut bait with somebody when they still have value, when they're still valued by other organizations and their top prospects. Somebody like Dylan Carlson, where you trade him for literally nothing. You get Sean Armstrong, who you put on waivers a month or so later. Let's see. Okay. Mo has to go. I'll take the opposite on Oli. He has done an outstanding job considering their roster. Mo saddled him with. Excellent job with bullpen. Yeah, I don't think this year Ollie's done a bad job. Good bullpen. I don't think Ollie's the biggest problem by any means, but I understand if you guys want him to go. I get it. Kensan the first. Bloom, new Pobo, utilized Molina's advisory role. Yes, the fact that Yachty just didn't even show up, that's also hilarious. To restructure the organization. It feels that the whole org lost its way. The Cardinal way is gone, folks. I agree. Yachty could fix that, but he can't if he's just the manager. Does Yachty want to come back for anything other than the manager? Come on now. The dude made $100 million. BO, the handling of Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker has been a travesty. Let's see. Flying Navy 73. Part 2, not a real fan of Oli and could offer reason for him to go, but my spidey sense that he would be better than most of the guys they would hire. Skip is the exception. I agree with that. That's well said. Ken's on the first. Best to trade Housley. Use that money towards starting pitching and bats. The league is going to figure him out by next season. Maybe not even next season. To me, it's more about, God, to give a 32-year-old like a 4-year deal with the volatility of bullpen arms, injuries, right? I think the more I think about it, if you get a huge return from Helsley, I would do it. If not, I would just keep him. I would keep him, see what happens at the deadline next year. Then you could always qualifying offer him, right? Even for a reliever, an unbelievable closer, whatever that is, $20 million for one season. But if they get a haul for him, I would move him this offseason. I don't think I'd sign him to a big extension. If he wants a team-friendly one, which why would he want that? Remember, they went to arbitration, and he was a little unhappy with the Cardinals several years ago. That was when I was at spring training? Would that have been 20? I can't remember when that was. No, that was not. I was not there. Whenever that was. He was not happy with the arbitration process, so I could see him wanting to test free agency also. Uncle John, here's a hypothetical question from a fan in Asia. If Marmol is still managing next season and wins the division, by the way, where are you at in Asia? How many fans would still be clamoring for Oli's head? Oh, yeah, nobody would if they win the division, for sure. I also think moving on from Mo is enough substantive change that Cardinal fans would kind of withdraw their arrows from Oli for a little bit, right? Moving on from Mo is the biggest part. Roger Walton, been saying Marmol should be fired from the get-go. Lousy manager. Keep Goldie at least 2 more years, even though he sucked this year. Noah Priest. Cardinals used to be pretty good at signing older players. Will Clark, Larry Walker, and Lance Berkman. Let's see. Ralph Jenkins. There are not many systems in basketball and baseball. A coach with a great defensive system in football and hockey can make an immediate impact. Let's see. 111 games played. Hurt again. Crazy. Who are you talking about there? We looked up, what did Wilson Contreras played about 80 or so games. Who are you talking about 111 games played? I can't remember. That was 10 minutes ago. We were talking about that. I had another discussion with my buddy at the Guardians-Cardinals game. Different friend, big baseball guy. And he was having a discussion with his baseball friends. He brought this up to me. What do you think? He said the Cardinals may have been the team most negatively affected by the shift leaving. And when he brought that up, I started thinking about that. We've discussed that a little bit. It makes a lot of sense. The Cardinals did seem to have an advantage, defensive alignment for all those years. They seem to really take advantage of the shift better than a lot of other teams. And since then, the defense has fallen off. What do you guys think about that? I thought that was a pretty interesting topic. I haven't looked up all the numbers on that, but I feel like the eye test speaks to that. Quinn Matthews is Baseball America's minor league pitcher of the year for 2024. Yes, we're very high on Quinn Matthews. We're very high on Tink Hence. So hopefully some big-time starters are coming from the organization, which has been the problem the last 5 to 7 years. Really nobody from the organization besides Flaherty, who was up and down. He was hurt a lot. We like Palante. He's got to show more. But so far, so good. Jacob Strange. Maybe Ronnie Belliard, too. Bring him back, huh? He'll save this. Ralph Jenkins, John Mozeliak, and to a lesser extent, Bill DeWitt Jr., much bigger problem than Oli Marmol with the Cardinals' issues in the last decade. I agree. Ryan Mabe, managers do not matter. Look at the Brewers, Cubs. Yes, I don't want to say do not matter, but they don't matter nearly as much as a lot of people think. The baseball decision makers in the front office matter much, much more. And look what happened with Craig Counsell. Everybody said, oh, you're losing the best manager, the guy who knows how to handle a bullpen. Brewers didn't skip a beat. Cubs, not that great. Let's see. Scott Fun, man, this is the time you want to take the Pobo job. You would end that goodwill day one if you keep your losing manager. Okay, yeah. Like I said, if they move on from Oli, I totally understand it. But first and foremost, you got to move on from John Mozeliak. If they move on from Oli too, I'm fine with it. I just don't think it's as pressing. Aaron Dodson, the DeWitts don't care to win anymore. They need to sell. They certainly don't care about really winning at a high level. They certainly don't care about really putting themselves in a position to not just squeak into the playoffs, right? The last 3-4 years, I feel like all the teams have been the same on paper. Just, hey, let's get in and see what happens. And then when things go poorly, all it takes is a couple things to go bad. Last year was awful. Then you sell at the deadline. This year, things okay at the deadline, but still you don't get any type of boost in August, and you miss the playoffs. Let's see. Bird Chatter Baseball, 70% on DeWitt. Even if it was 95%, I would be the 5%. No, you don't want the DeWitts to sell. Aaron Dodson, the DeWitts don't care to win championships. I agree with that. Here's the best comment of the live stream. Charlie should be the new GM. Yes, I agree. I will take that job. For sure. Bird Chatter Baseball, 70% on DeWitt. He's a Hall of Fame owner. STL quality and a great story. Like Augie, until the old man's gone, I say no. It wouldn't, it won't, and shouldn't. Let's see. As for Mole, say lock. And Oily Caramel. I don't know if that's a typo. I don't know. Scott Fawn, what about DeWitt the third stepping up to be the owner? Yeah. I mean, you got to think they're going to keep it in the family down the road. Let's see. Bird Chatter Baseball. I thought this was a new live stream. See, same live stream. What? We're 42 minutes in. I'm not going to go super long. I'm trying to get to all your guys' questions. I appreciate them all. Let's see. Cole Trickle. DeWitt the third has been at the helm of this club for at least the last 4 years. He's done quite a bang-up job, huh? DeWitt the third. He's more of the business guy. Let's see. Ryan Cleary, they brought back Matt Adams for a day. Love the guy, but he hit 59 homers in his career. I'm fine with that. I love Big City, Matt Adams. Hey, that's what the Cardinals are about. Having little ceremonies for guys like that. You can joke about it. Hey, should they have bigger numbers to honor those guys? I'm fine with that. We love Big City. We love Matt Adams. Big moments, Clayton Kershaw. It's all good. I'm not going to complain about that, especially in a year where not much is going right. Okay? I'm not going to rip on Big City. He's my guy. But I understand what you're saying. Verlis Gwynn. If Mo stays, Oli stays, it makes sense. It's Mo's last year. Again, if Mo stays, he will make some player moves, but I think we'll be mindful of the new GM coming in 2026. Brad Nichols. Oli did fine. Fans usually have very stupid reasons for demanding he goes, as if this team would have performed much differently without him. That's kind of where I'm at. Verlis Gwynn, I'm okay with Oli. Offense was bad. Yeah, this is much more, first of all, on Mozeliak, big picture, and specifically on the players this year, offensively. Goldschmidt, Arenado, Gorman, Jordan Walker. Who am I missing? Go around the diamond. Contreras being hurt. He was good when he was in the lineup, but hurt for half the games. Who else? I mean, look, the dudes you're paying $60 million to got to be better. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. Wilson Contreras has to be on the field more. Jordan Walker, we expected him to take a step forward, and instead he was in the minors for most of the season. Nolan Gorman in the minors. We expected him to take a huge step. It ain't good, folks. Oh, Tyler O'Neill, 111 games played. That's who you're talking about, Ryan Mabe. Yes. Ryan Mabe again. Cardinals over-under for wins was 84.5. We're one of the favorites. Brewers being much better than expected killed the season. Yeah, but still, I don't think you should be happy going into a season where your over-under is 84.5, right? The Cardinals may land right around there. If they won out, they get 85. They probably land on more like 83, right? You can't You can't expect to get to the playoffs with 84 wins, right? I would feel much better. If your over-under is 88.5, 89.5, okay, you feel pretty good. Hey, this is a playoff team. 84.5, you're kind of, we'll see what happens. Bird chatter baseball. So whatever percentage is, majority is wrong on DeWitt. I don't know with Mo. Good time to part ways from Walt Jocketty, 1995. Oli manages like a deer in headlights. Must fire. Eric Wade, the Edmund stuff alone is grounds for firing. How are you going to be asleep at the wheel the entire season? Almost none of their moves made a ton of sense. Move ups, downs, trades, waivers. Yeah, I agree with that. Eric Wade, always playing catch up. Aaron Dodson, Mo should be fired and left penniless. That's harsh. I think he's probably got some money in the bank. Mo strikes me as somebody who manages his personal portfolio very well. Spencer Bean, Skip is likely to replace Oli based on some inside info. They may keep him next year, though, but if they drop him this year, it's Skip. Fans would love Skip coming back. Let's be real. That's one thing where that's a no-brainer, just from a popularity standpoint. Because remember, you also need to sell tickets. Cardinal fans did not show up this year. I'm not mad at you. Didn't get to 3 million fans for the first time in this ballpark's history. And look, there was half of that. Let's be real about that. However many, whatever the number is going to be, 2,800,000, whatever the number is, it's more like half that, right? That actually showed up and attended the games. Final, think, what would Trump do? You're all fired. Make Cardinal baseball great again. There we go. Cole Trickle, prediction. They don't do anything in the offseason. I agree. I disagree. Disagree with that. They're going to do something in the offseason for sure. I think Mozeliak's actually going to step aside, or at least step aside a little bit and say, hey, Einblum's coming in. He's going to be the future. We're going to give him a bunch of responsibilities for 2025. I think that's what is and should happen. Alex Klobes, if Charlie was managing, who would you start next year? Who would I start? If I was a manager, I mean, these dudes just got to hit, right? Gorman has to hit. Walker has to hit. Arenado has to hit. We'll see if Goldschmidt's even here. If he is, he has to hit like a $26 million player. Arenado has to hit like a $35 million player. Jordan Walker has to hit like a top 5 prospect in baseball. Gorman has to hit like a guy that we looked at as a first-round pick who was going to be a 30-bomb big leaguer for 10 years. That's what has to happen. Spencer Bean, Goldie is likely to go back to Arizona unless we were able to sign him for a lot lower price tag. If he goes back to Arizona, I think that's okay, folks. I think it's okay to move on from Goldschmidt. I don't think anybody's going to really either way be like, oh, we lost Goldschmidt at his age. What is he? How old's Paul Goldschmidt? Is he 36? Let's look him up because I forget all these things. Paul Goldschmidt is. He's already 37. He just turned 37 September 10th. So you're basically getting him for his ages 37 and 38 season. I don't think you can be really mad if they don't sign Paul Goldschmidt, folks. Let's see. Spencer Bean. Even if Paul Goldschmidt goes somewhere else and is good, okay. It's okay with moving on from a 37-year-old on a 2-year deal. If he wants 2 years, it's okay to say, you know what, we don't feel great about this deal at this price. Ollie's likely to be shelved for Skip, though. You heard it here first. Just watch and see. Spencer Bean, O'Neill hit as many dingers as our whole outfield combined. That was my whole point earlier. And you traded him for nothing. You traded him for nothing in his walk year when he was super motivated. He wasn't making a ton of money. And you did it because you fractured the relationship beyond repair last year by calling him out publicly. I will never change my mind on that. I said it was stupid then, stupid now, even looks worse. When your offense sucked, he hits 31 bombs. He'd have been your best outfielder. And oh, by the way, you traded him for nothing. What, a minor league guy? And then who was the other guy? I forgot his name. Was it Nick Robertson? That they frickin' DFA'd, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I am. Let's see. Devin Hilton. Oli is fine for a high school baseball coach. Come on now. Hall of Fame managers don't grow on trees. There's only a handful at any time, and we need to go get one. Go get one or get somebody who turns into a Hall of Fame manager. How about that? Jay Boak. Look at the majority of good teams. They have at least 6 players in the lineup with 20-plus homers. Yeah. We looked earlier. The Cardinals, what was their slugging percentage? Was it 388? Let me go look again. I think the Cardinals slugging percentage. Cardinals. Okay. Let's look at this again. We did this earlier, folks. Cardinals team OPS. Team OPS, Cardinals, 20th in baseball, 698. Team slug, yikes, 388, 21st in baseball. Team OBP, okay, 15th, middle of the pack, 310 in baseball. And we all know the biggest issue is timely hitting, runners in scoring position. That tells the story. Verlis Gwynn, I think if or when Bloom takes over, say bye-bye to the big money contracts. Wilson, Goldie, Nato, and Gray. It may take him a year or two to trade them away, but I believe that's the direction he will go. You should keep Gray, first of all. Wilson, if he stays healthy, you like that deal. Even if he turns into a DH or first baseman in the last couple of years. Nato, don't you think Nato's going to want to trade this offseason? He's making a lot of money for less production. Goldie, you just don't bring him back. That's easy. I don't think you move on from Gray's contract. Let's see. Spencer Bean, Goldie is the most likely to go. I'll go for an hour here, folks, about 9 more minutes. Scuba 13, there's some sort of disconnect between minors and majors player development. Springfield and Palm Beach had great years, but guys aren't developing at AAA. Yeah, that's another thing. When the Cardinals were good 11 to 15, they would just go down and bring up a freaking army of pitching. Relievers. I was talking to my buddy about this at the game the other day. I mean, just even we're talking the Rosenthals, the Kevin Segras, the Seth Manuses of the world, then go to starters, Shelby Miller, Michael Wacha, Lance Lynn, Carlos Martinez. They would always go down and get folks from the minor leagues that would come up and contribute. And we have not seen that pipeline of pitching. I mean, we'll see what happens with McGreevy, but guys like McGreevy and Graceffo and Zach Thompson, who you thought would be contributors, that has not really been the case. Palante obviously was great this year. You're happy with him. But big picture, just churning out the pitching that you develop yourself. That's why the Cardinals were so good from 11 to 15. Let's see. Spencer Bean, we aren't willing to give him $18 million next season. Talking about Goldschmidt, I believe. Yes. Craig Starr, possibility of trading multiple prospects for a future Hall of Famer on a bad team. Mike Trout. That ain't going to happen. What's Mike Trout make? Like $40 million? Something like that? He's also always hurt. We're trying to get rid of the big contracts, older guys that are hurt, all right? Aaron Hughes, time to let McGreevy and Hentz start establishing themselves in the rotation. Hard to give start to the lots of veterans. That's another thing. Yeah, like next year. Miles Michaelis, okay, he's under contract. Wouldn't you rather see somebody like McGreevy get a shot? Tink, I don't think Tink and Quinn Matthews are going to start the year with a chance to make the big league club as starters, but hopefully they're in the big leagues at some point next year. Let's see. Ryan Cleary, Charlie, will they have an end of season press conference this year? LOL. Yes, they will, but I don't think it'll be a typical press conference of basically the post-mortem on the season. I think there will be news. I think it'll be a news conference announcing some changes. That's what should happen. I just answered this question, but Spencer Bean, will we see Quinn Matthews as a starter at the beginning of next year? I say no. But hey, man, he's been unbelievable. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't bet on it. Let's see. Ken's on the first. Props for Wilson to say what's needed to be said. Too many holes in the lineup from underperforming players. Hopefully the front office doesn't take offense and trade him. I saw a stat on X. Did you guys see this? Somebody put it out there of the Cardinals record, though, the last couple of years with and without Wilson Contreras. I didn't even want to bring it up because I didn't personally vet it, but it was a stark difference of the Cardinals record when Wilson isn't playing. It's much better than when he is playing. Did you guys see that? Did anybody check on that? I shouldn't have brought it up without checking on it, but it was really surprising to me. Terry McKenna, watch Goldie will come on after he gets away from Oli. I mean, yeah, but wasn't Goldie was really good Oli's first year, wasn't he? Let's look it up. So Oli's first year was 2022. Goldie an all-star. Oh, he's a freaking MVP. Come on. Yeah, that was his MVP year. I mean, he was the MVP with Oli. Led the league in slug, OPS, and OPS plus. Freaking MVP. 35 bombs, 115 RBI, 2022. So it's not all on Oli. It's on Goldie. And even last year, Goldie was 120 OPS plus. To me, you're seeing potentially just aging. He's up to 95 OPS plus, not I mean, look, you're getting close to league average, but you're making, how much money is he making? $26 million a year. I mean, that dude's got to be at least 120 OPS plus. I know he's getting older, but yeah, he's making $26 million this year. Mike Keeler, like Wee Willie Keeler's relative. Trout's best years are in the rear view mirror. Let's see. Zachary Long. Honestly, we just need another hitting coach, a bat, and maybe another starter. Got plenty of trade options. Gorman. I do think the Cardinals, there's another thing. We talk about front office, but field staff. Don't you think you have to move on from the entire offensive coaching staff? So hopefully this offseason we have at least 2 big moves. Maybe 3, because you guys all want Oli gone. But at least 2, in my opinion. Mozeliak says, Chaim Bloom's going to take over. I'm going to give him a ton of responsibility in 2025. Get rid of the entire offensive coaching staff. At that point, I think fans would not be that pissed if Oli's back. What do you guys think? Here we go. Bird Chatter Baseball. What would Trump do? We have the greatest, winningest franchise. We know the Yankees, but they cheated. Everybody knows they cheat. So we are the greatest, the top, the number 1 baseball team. Not a very good impression. I tried. Spencer Bean. That's my main grief with Oli, is he did that to O'Neill. That was probably the biggest problem he has with ownership too, philosophy-wise, which says a lot. Who is your favorite 1-year bullpen pitcher? With the Cardinals or somebody to get? I haven't even looked at the frickin' who's available out there. Another Trump. Trump continued, in America, folks, we are better off than we were 4 years. Remember when Jack Flaherty was great? Matt Carpenter could hit. Goldie. She's Goldie, not even gold. They tarnished Goldie. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. My impression wasn't good, but the writing is good. Get rid of Gibson, in my opinion. How about we give Ryan Lotus a chance? 18 of 20 save ops in AAA. Great story. I remember interviewing Ryan Lotus. Is that how you pronounce it? I can't remember. I remember interviewing him at Wash U when Wash U was going to the Division III World Series, I believe. And for a guy like that, wasn't he undrafted? Was that the COVID year? Maybe the COVID year. I can't remember. But for him to be a big leaguer from D3 Wash U, throws gas now, super impressive. Spencer Bean, I say we bring back JoJo and Kit, honestly. Yeah, Kittredge. It'd be nice to have Kittredge back on a nice little 1-year deal also. Nathan Holtmeyer, aside from shite trades, I think the DeWitts deserve a majority of fan hate as opposed to Mo. Both. Do you agree? Mo can operate within the financial limits that ownership places him in. I don't know, because the Cardinals payroll, isn't it like $200 million? It's not about how much recently. It's about how they spend the money. But it's on Mo more for just the whole organization, drafting, developing. That's on Mo. But really it's on the DeWitts because the buck stops with the owner. I'll always blame the ownership more, just big picture, because they run the business. They run the company. At the end of the day, if somebody underneath you, even Mozeliak, isn't doing well, for your business to succeed, you have to move on from that person. Let's see. Man, you guys have a lot of questions and comments. I don't think I'm going to be able to go to all these. Okay, I'm going to sift through them. I appreciate it, honestly. We'll go a nice solid hour. Let's see. Yeah, runners in scoring position killed us this year. We all agree on that. They need a whole new outfield. Move Burleson to first. Don't you like Nootbaar though, right? Nootbaar's solid. Donovan's solid. This is funny. Patrick Longshanks. Whatever happened to Molina Consulting? He watched this team this year and said, I'm not interested. I'll take that check though. We'll see you next year. This is well said. Chester Markle. Mo did a good job for a long time, but I think it's time to move on. That's an adult way of saying it. That's how I say it. I agree with that. More good than bad, big picture. First 10 years, not as good as first 10 years, much better than the last, 8 years, whatever it is. Overall good. Time to move on. This is business, baby. That's all it is. You liked my Trump impression? It was okay. Good writing, though. Yachty as manager. Whoo! You think Chaim Bloom wants to come in and have Yachty be the manager who has more juice than him in the organization? Would you want that? Would you want that as a president of baseball operations year one, hiring Yachty, who's more popular than anybody on frickin' earth in terms of Cardinal Nation? Liberatore will be the next closer, or at least setup guy. Yeah, I'd like to see Liberatore more opportunities for sure next year. Yachty will 100% not manage the Cardinals. He was supposed to be an advisor and player helper this year, but he didn't show up at all, which is hilarious. Let's be honest. That is that jive with ownership, unfortunately. Trust me, jive. Yeah. Yeah. I like Burley at first next year. Libitor is a positive thing we can take from this season. How many years until we're a playoff contender going into the season? Big time playoff contender? I think 2026. Cardinals could make the playoffs next year, right? They could make the playoffs next year, but I don't think on paper they're going to be that great. But don't you think 2026 is more the year where you're shedding contracts, right? You're shedding Michaelis. You're shedding Steven Matz. You would think that at that point, Quinn Matthews and Tink Hence are really ready to contribute, maybe as full-time big league starters, even though that would probably be their first year. At that point, you're hoping Jordan Walker figures it out and he's really good. You're hoping Nolan Gorman is pretty good. I could see the Cardinals on paper, 2026, being pretty damn good. I think on paper next year, very good chance that they're kind of like this year with that over-under win total of 84.5 or 83.5 or something of that nature. Okay. Here's a good stat. Oh, wait. I don't think there's a chance Tink is ready before Quinn. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying 2026 as full-time starters. I think they'll both be in the big leagues at some point next year for something. Cup of coffee, spot start, end of the year, whatever it is. Here's the stat I was trying to go to. Scuba 13, insane stat of the year. Bases loaded, batting average is 184, down from last year's 198. So 15-point drop. I'll take your word for that. Let's see. Jay Boak, need better hitters from the minors. Rarely get a stud hitter developed. They always have to trade for older hitters already past 30. How about developing the guys that like Walker and Gorman? I mean, you like Donovan, don't you? You like Burleson. You like Wynn. You like Nootbaar. I know Nootbaar has to, some of these guys have to stay a little more healthy, but there's some good position players there. Okay, let's wrap it up. We're over an hour. Thank you guys for watching. Please support our sponsors, Triad Bank, triadbanking.com. Best thing I ever did for my rental property business, taking all my loans from a big national bank, my commercial loans, to a local bank over there in Frontenac that cares about me. Their customer service is top notch. Triad Bank. Been working with them for about 5 years or so. They've been a sponsor for about 3 years. Love Triad Bank in Frontenac. They also have a location in Creve Coeur. St. Louis Lawn Care for your lawn cutting needs, mulch, aeration. They're about to do the aeration coming up this week, mosquito and bug control. You got St. Louis Equipment, stlmowerrepair.com. Buy a new mower, get your mower repaired. We're talking Skag. We're talking Wright, the big-time brands. Handheld machines. I have a Crest battery-operated trimmer. I have a Husqvarna blower, which is that fuel mix. It's all great over there. And then Corner Butcher. I got to get out there. Corner Butcher now in the same building as Chop House in beautiful Fenton, Missouri. Love Corner Butcher for all your grilling needs for the weekend, for college football, for baseball playoffs. Are you going to watch baseball playoffs, even though the Cardinals aren't in it? I'm a Guardians fan. And I haven't looked, but the Tigers have a chance to make it. My dad's happy about that. My dad's a Tigers fan. My buddy's the assistant hitting coach for the Guardians. I will be rooting for the Guardians, and I'll be rooting for the Tigers if they make it as well. What do you guys think about that? Okay, I'll do a couple more. Mitchell Biquette. Mitchell, is your dad Dave from the gym? Let me know. With the end of year conference Monday, I'm worried the big changes Mo will announce won't be big at all. Firing Turner Ward and naming a new director of player development. Mo will still be Pobo. We shall see. I don't know. I hope Mo. I don't think that'll happen immediately, that announcement. Although you probably shouldn't hold the press conference until you actually have that solidified. So whatever they have to do, I don't think you're going to see a press conference that first week. I think if the Cardinals are going to make big changes, they have to let those things play out a couple weeks. And maybe you have a press conference where Chaim Bloom is actually there, sitting there, right? Mitchell says, yeah. Dad's a good dude. I talk to him at the gym all the time. Let's see. The Cardinals are opening their own streaming service. That's another thing. The TV, Cardinals are going to have to invest in that infrastructure with the TV moving forward. And that's going to be a big investment, even though big picture long-term is going to be much better for them, but probably going to be a little painful financially for the first couple of years. Hope Schilt wins the World Series. I agree with that. I want the Guardians to win the World Series, but I would want to see Schilt as well. I'm totally fine with that. All right, guys. we'll end it there. I think I read almost every one of your guys' comments. Almost everyone. If I missed some, I apologize. But we read a million of them, and I appreciate all you guys. We're 65 minutes in. We got 95 of you still watching. I think at one point we had like 120 or 130 watching concurrently. So there you go. Thanks, guys. Charlie Marlow signing off. Thank you so much. We'll try to do at least one of these per week or so. I'll do one. I'll tell you what. Also, I think I'm going to do one next Tuesday when playoffs start. Maybe we'll do one during the day while I'm kind of watching games over there, and we can have a little chat while we're going back with all the games. I got to see the schedule, but I love that first playoff day when there's a ton of baseball games. So we'll see. All right, guys. And I'll end on this. Spencer Bean, thanks, Charlie. Have a good one. You too. And thanks, Charlie. Jeff Castle. Thanks, Charlie. Miss you guys on 590. Thank you, Alex. I miss being on 590 as well. Okay, and look, my wife's calling me as well. So it's a perfect time to stop the stream. All right, guys, thank you. Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher, and Chop House in Fenton. Love you all. We will see you later. End stream.